Well, now, I just got finished watching The Mandalorian. I don't work on Fridays, and it's like 1:20 in the afternoon. So this is the earliest I could watch it, and thank goodness I did, because oh my god, like these past two episodes of The Mandalorian, the previous one with Ahsoka Tano, and now this one with Boba Fett, have just been unbelievable. It leaves me with that Star Wars watching feeling that I lost with Rise of Skywalker, and then there were some Star Wars shows or individual episodes that were solid, some were all right, and some were left me with that Star Wars feeling. But just Mandalorian has just been hitting it, and with this Mandalorian season, there have been some episodes that have been very good, but it was just kind of like his mission of the week kind of thing. Still excellent, but it's not moving the story forward. Especially with these past two episodes, they're moving the overall story forward. So I know there was a hint at Boba Fett because there was the Temeura Morrison reveal, but you weren't too sure because you didn't know if Temeura Morrison was actually Boba Fett, or if he was, a clone left over from the Clone Wars. And that was kind of cool. They didn't give that away right away. But now that we know, it was like as soon as I saw the Boba Fett ship is known as the Slave One, and as soon as I saw the Slave One, I was like, oh my god, then he certainly was Boba Fett. And just the way that Boba Fett presented himself, just how his face is all scarred from, I would assume, being in the Sarlac Pit. It was probably just, the stomach acid that burned his face. I would imagine he'll hopefully go into it. And not to mention, Temeura Morrison's performance was, when he was Jango Fett, I thought he was all right. I thought his performance was okay. But his performance as Boba Fett in this episode of The Mandalorian was just awesome. From the dialogue that was written by Jon Favreau to the way that Morrison said that dialogue, and then to the way the episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez. When I saw that Robert Rodriguez directed at the end, I was like, oh my god. So this episode just had all the elements of excellent story. You like all the characters, even the characters like some character like Fennick, who we don't really know that much, but I really liked her because just her ability to fight and how she just means business and how she stays calm under pressure, and that action sequence with all the stormtroopers and the boulder going down. It was just just excellent. How Grogu. Now that we know him as Grogu, how he's developing as a character. What did he see on that stone, and the fact that he was throwing all those stormtroopers around at the end. We're now getting development into Moff Gideon, where, the introduction of the character, we didn't know that much about him. A little bit of a mustache twirler, and considering Giancarlo Esposito has a mustache now, why not? But now you're starting to see the motivation and his just the way that he thinks. You're seeing that even more. He has the dark saber, which is which had a prominent role in previous Star Wars cartoons. That's being fleshed out even more. We know they're using Grogu. I would assume, and I'm pretty sure my guess is accurate, they want to use him as a weapon because he is so powerful. So if they can harness his power, possibly clone him, oh my god, what an advantage the Empire remnant would now have. So what's really cool about The Mandalorian is that based on where it is on the timeline, there's so much space and time that it can use to develop what actually went on between Return of the Jedi, which is probably the period that I'm starting to get most fascinated in, because I loved Return of the Jedi so much and I just wanted to know what happened right after. So now we're starting to see, how the New Republic is formed. Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So we're seeing how the new forms of government are, or how the New Republic is starting to replace the Empire, but the galaxy is so vast. So how do you do such a thing? So it was hinted that that Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano, who I used to follow when she was a fighter, professional mixed martial artist, how she's a marshal, and how they're starting to try and get order into the Outer Rim, which is the most lawless parts of the galaxy, it seems. So because of the hugeness of the galaxy, it's hard to, and the fact that the Empire didn't die overnight just because the Emperor and Darth Vader died. There were still so many starships and so many systems left over, but now there's a power vacuum that it looks like Moff Gideon is trying to fill, and quite successfully so far. And the fact that Boba Fett is, telling us, he even said, well, the Empire is back, and it meaning that he's seeing a foundation for the Empire that's being formed. So, so overall, just an incredible episode. And just let me talk briefly about Ahsoka Tano and how she was introduced. Now, I made the mistake on that episode, seeing the recap. I never want to watch the recaps again, because the recap kind of took the surprise away that Ahsoka would be in it. But even with that, just how she debuted and her Jedi fighting skills, and she, she's not a Jedi, so she was able to kind of be a little more aggressive with, I guess, having that balance of not falling to the dark side. But I think with Ahsoka, even if she did, it wouldn't have mattered, because she doesn't have the code to hang on to anymore. And let me give a shout out to Rosario Dawson's performance. When there was rumors that she was being cast, I was like, oh my God, she's perfect for this role. And I try not to use the word perfect, because, perfect is subjective, but man, what a great casting choice. And everything down to the physicality of the role that she can do, to the way the makeup was, and oh my God, her voice, how she used her voice to sound like, an adult Ahsoka, because we're used to watching, the really, to talk about a Star Wars episode or movie that wasn't that good, it was the first Clone Wars cartoon, where Ahsoka was a very little kid and she first got introduced to Anakin. So we're seeing Ahsoka, so that movie wasn't that good, but that was when we first saw Ahsoka. So we're seeing Ahsoka from that to all the appearances that she's made, and how she's just grown and matured as a character, and as a Jedi, and as someone who's gone through all these catastrophic moments from the Clone Wars to now the Empire against the Rebellion, to the New Republic forming. So to see her place in this, and the fact that she's still a Jedi and is still in the know, to see her place in this is quite awesome. I do want to raise a little bit of a mistake that was made when Ahsoka was talking about Grogu. She said there's only one other species that I saw with Grogu, and she was referring to Yoda. The problem is that Yoda wasn't the only one of his species that was there that were there, and this is canon. This was in episode 1. There was another species the same as Yoda called Yaddle who was there. She sat on the Jedi Council. She was a female version of Yoda, and I think after and she didn't have any dialogue. She was just sitting on the council. But I think after episode 1, I don't think there was any mention of her. So maybe Ahsoka didn't know her. Maybe Yaddle died before Ahsoka even heard of her, but so she was kind of left out, maybe just for simplicity and for storyline purposes. But the fact that Grogu, there's still so much mystery surrounded by him, and I like how they're kind of drawing this out. Like, what did he see on that stone? And I was just the episode was called The Tragedy, and I kind of knew. I was hoping nothing happened to Grogu, because I just want Grogu to stay with the Mandalorian, but that's not going to happen, because you're not going to, you need conflict, you need tension to move the story forward. So I knew that would be a tragedy. But then there was also, I thought maybe the tragedy, if Boba Fett was going to be in this, the tragedy of Boba Fett. What happened to him in the 5 years that since we last saw him, from getting, oddly enough, getting thrown into that Sarlac Pit may have saved his life, because he probably would have gotten blown up on Jabba's sail barge and Return of the Jedi. Now, if you go by the Legends storyline, Boba Fett did survive that, and I'm just giving a little bit of spoilers for the Legends storyline, and there's some great stories in that, but it showed Boba Fett as a very old man with a daughter and trying to reconnect with his daughter. I don't think he doesn't seem like he has a child in this. Just the fact that he is just, I mean, Boba Fett started out as just like a one-off character that kind of grew in cult status. So Lucas, took advantage of that and made Fett and his father central characters in Episode 2. And starting off all the clones, and it's just and from other writers and directors taking the Fett storyline and letting it grow, and to have it where it is, letting it grow at least in Legends and have it where it is now in The Mandalorian is just going to make. I hope nothing happens to Boba Fett, because I want to learn more about him, just how he's able to fight with that stick, and you see the stormtrooper armor shattering, to how he uses his gun, and then when you see him back with his old armor on, it was so cool. But it was fan service, but it was fan service in a way where it wasn't just, oh, let's just bring him back just to have him do stuff. It's fan service with a purpose, and fan service where it's really cool. It's not just doing it just because it's something that fans want. It is doing it for it's something that fans want, but there is the addition of doing something really, really great that makes sense with the overall story. So, I mean, I thought to myself, with the exception of The Last Jedi, which I loved, it's one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie. I can only imagine what Jon Favreau could have done with the sequel trilogy. I just feel, especially with Rise of Skywalker, I thought Force Awakens was solid. It was very good. I really liked it. But J.J. Abrams has fan service to where it's like he just has a rerun. He just shows a rerun. There's really nothing. There's really not that much character development. It's like, oh, well, let's bring this back, and let's bring this back, and let's have this go on, and without much explanation, because he likes to have a mystery in a mystery box. And some speculation is okay, but not the whole thing, please, or not most of it. And I think Favreau manages this really, really well, and he's done such a just phenomenal job, throughout most of The Mandalorian. Like I said, there have been none of the episodes have been bad. Some episodes didn't seem to have a purpose or a point, but were still good nonetheless. And speaking of episodes that didn't seem to have the purpose or a point, we had the Bill Burr character introduced, and that episode was like, okay, who cares, whatever, this was the mission, and he met some people, and now nothing's coming from it. Now they're bringing him back, so maybe that episode did have a purpose, but now it's just further along. It's still weird, though, because you want to have some suspension of disbelief, and just Bill Burr is known, at least, I know him so well as a comedian because he's a wildly successful comedian. I just know him as Bill Burr, and I'm not even a big stand-up comedy fan, but I know who Bill Burr is. So it's that strange. But, listen, I can get over it. I know who Giancarlo Esposito is. I know who Gina Carano is. I know who Carl Weathers is. I know who Pedro Pascal is. It's fine. It's fine. So that being said, bravissimo to the crew at The Mandalorian, and the season's not even over yet, and it's so exciting. It's so nice. TV is so great, especially now during this terrible time in history. I am very fortunate and privileged enough to have a TV, that works, and to have Disney Plus, and to be able to watch these things just to escape for a little bit while all this madness is going on. So that's it for me. And speaking of madness, please keep yourself informed with this pandemic. Please get information from credible sources, be it the BBC, the New York Times, NPR, Washington Post, USA Today. Listen to the experts with scientific consensus. Scientific consensus can change. This virus is so fast moving. So, the virus adapts, so we have to adapt to it. So that's why we have the top experts in the world working on it. Please listen to what they have to say, and not some podcaster who thinks they know, not some influencer who thinks they know, but they really don't. please listen to the people who know it could very well save your life, and not just with the pandemic, just with information in general. This is a very crucial time. Please, 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 please go to a credible source, gatekeepers, the ones who know how to keep the gate so we get the information that's vital for our very survival at this point. So, and that being said, wear your mask, practice social distancing, don't gather, wash your hands, and, take care of each other, even if it's only from a distance. All right, everyone, may the Force be with you all, and until next time, bye.